the experience of Linux. So sharing my screen. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So we know what is Linux operating system, right? It is an operating system which is a secure operating system. It has many features like we have. Give me a moment. I'm just launching incidents. Okay. I'm sharing my. Okay, I'm showing one PPT here. Okay. So this is what about the Linux. It's a operating system which is actually a free operating system. We have compared to Windows operating system, Linux is totally free. We can download it from the internet. We can modify the source code, and it is highly secure. And we can do everything using the commands. Right? We can operate anything using the commands. So Linux has different distributions. So these are the different distributions. Some are will be familiar for you, like you heard about the Red Hat, SUSE, Debian, Ubuntu, CentOS, Fedora. So these are all different distributions. There will be a slight changes when you look wise and commands also. There will be some commands will be different. That's all have, and the major change will be there on the kernel. So kernel in the sense you heard about the kernel, right? Kernel is a core of an operating system, you can say, or it's a heart of an operating system. Right? So that kernel will be different on each operating system. So Linux kernel source code is freely available from the that can be written in a C program. Even we can modify, we can customize, and we can create our own kernel, and we can create our own distribution. Like some of the companies they do that, and they customize their own Linux operating system. They will be developed, and they'll be okay. That is what the Linux distribution. Let's go to a different page. So here actually we can see the file system hierarchy. So here is actually we can, I'll go to my Linux. I'm going to launch an EC2 so that we can use a Linux machine for doing some kind of a testing in that, so that I can show you that what all we can do. I'm going to launch an Ubuntu machine. This I've created a Linux machine in the cloud, AWS cloud. We'll discuss that later. If you're aware of that, it's fine. It's basically a cloud where I can run the Linux machine. Okay. So I've already created a Linux machine, and I'm going to log into that Linux machine, and I'm going to show you that a demo on that Linux machine. Yes, I'm inside the Linux machine. So what I want to discuss about that here in this Linux machine, this is the file system hierarchy in the Linux. So file system hierarchy in the sense what? The way of organizing the files and the directories, right? So here you can see the structure. So this is the main parent directory. So in the Windows, you might have seen the C drive, right? Similar way, here it is called a slash. The directory name itself called slash. And under the slash directory, we can see many subdirectories like home, etc, opt, boot, bin, mnt, gmt. And under that, again, you can see there are many subdirectories, and inside user there are many other subdirectories. So this is a way actually Linux organizing the files and the directories. If I come to my this Linux machine, if I say cd slash, that is a directory, enter ls. So inside you can see there are many subdirectories. There is a home directory, mnt directory, opt directory, proc directory. Here it is called as directory. In Windows we call it as folder. Okay, just a naming convention, right? So wherever you can see the blue color, those are directory. Apart from that, all are files. But in the files, again, there are 7 different types of files. I mean, that includes directory also. So the files colors will be different. Known blue colors all are files. Okay. So we can see here these all are files in the light blue color, kind of a link file. Okay. If I say cd and if I say ls, there is nothing here. If I go to etc folder, there is a lot of files with a white color, right? So these are all files, normal files. And the blue colors are the directories here. Okay. So that is what the file system hierarchy here. It is like an inverted tree structure, right? The root will be on the top, the tree root, and these are all the branches. So this is the way all the Linux machine, all the distributions are maintaining the files and the directories in the manner. Okay. So I'll go to the next slide. So this is the Linux architecture. Linux has a hardware, right? On the top of that, we'll be installing the operating system, right? So operating system basically runs with the kernel. Kernel is the core of an operating system, or we can say the heart of an operating system, right? Which who can talk to the hardware. And there is a shell here. Shell in the sense where we are running the commands. On the top only we are telling the commands. So we have different types of shell. What is called bash shell, CSH shell, KSH shell. Okay. So on the top of that, we'll be running the commands like, cat command, nano command, utilities, ls command, wget. All these commands are running at the top of the bash shell. So why there is a shell needed here? Because the commands are like an English format, right? Like cat, cat. We are familiar with that, right? We can easily remember that. ls, what it does, listing the files and the folders. So that human readable format, we can easily remember. That is called, that is the reason we are running the commands. Only shell can understand these commands, but the kernel cannot directly understand the command. So here the shell is an interpreter or a mediator between the kernel and the commands. When we pass the commands here, that command will accept by the shell, and shell will provide the instructions to the kernel, and kernel will talk to the hardware. So we can say kernel is an interface between the shell and the hardware. Actually, who is talking to the kernel? Hardware. Okay. So even we are using the shell. See, wherever I'm typing the commands, right? That is typing on the shell. Even if you want to see the current shell here, we can say echo dot shell command. So we are using the bin bash. So that is the shell we can see here. Okay? Bash. Okay. So I'm just giving a quick introduction on everything since we have a short time giving a content. Class comes, we'll elaborate more. So I go to the next one, comparison. What is the difference between the Linux and the Windows machine? Linux is an open source, totally free software. We can live CD distribution, secure, right, and low hardware cost, customizable ad features. Windows is closed source, and that will cost you like $150, $320. And the cost software, insecure, virus malware, high hardware cost, not custom. So the production servers are using the Linux machines only. Very rarely only will be using the Linux. Next one is the Unix wins Linux. You might have heard of the Unix. So it's actually developed by the AT&T, the Unix, Bell Labs in the late 1960s, influencing the operating system history. And the Linux created by the Linux Torvalds in 1991, open source, alternative to the Unix. And yeah, there are many features, right? So usage, yeah. Yeah, so this is what actually a Linux interaction. So here we can run many commands, like when I say ls command, we can see the files and the directories, right? So it's just an empty folder. So that is the reason we are not able to see any files here. But when I say I want to create an empty file here, I can say touch command. So if I say touch space and the file name, ls, yeah, we can see a file here, right? And I said the file color will be white color. So that is the way we can identify it, right? And it is just an empty file. It does not have anything. And even if you want to create a file with content, we can say cat command and just greater than symbol and tell that file name. So I'll say I want to create another file called file1. I can say something inside the file like welcome from here. Linux. Yeah. Enter. How to see or say that? Just press Control D. ls, you can see there is a file. One more created called file1. And if you want to see the content, just say space. The same command cat only we can use, and the file name. We can see the content now, right? And even if you want to add something, if I say again the cat data and the file name, and if I say something hello, Control D, if I open that file again, you can see that the previous data overwritten. So that previous data is gone. If we want to add something on the top of that, we should use the double greater than symbol. So use the same file name. I say by and Control D. If I open that file one, you can see it, right? Hello and the by both are added here. Okay. Next one, if I want to create a directory, I can say mkdir. The name itself of the command, make directory, right? And say the directory name. So I say mkdir test directory name, and if I say ls, you can see the blue color directory. I mean, one file I just call the directory, and even if you want to get inside the directory, you can see the cd command and say that the directory. So I'm inside the directory now, and we can say the pwd command here to see the current path here, right? So the test directory I created under /o Ubuntu. Under Ubuntu there is a directory test. Okay. So pwd command will tell you that your present working directory where you are currently, right? And even if you want to even if you want to come back from that, you can say cd command, cd double dot. So you just come back to one directory step back. You can see now I am inside the /o. Earlier I was in the test directory. I just come out from that test directory because of double dot with cd. And there are many other commands to see your operating system. You can say cat release, cat etc OS release. So we can see that which one we are using for Ubuntu, and the version of Ubuntu is 24.0, right? The version is 20.4. So, like, we can see any of the operating system, which operating system they are using, we can identify it. And even if you are not, we can use an uname -r command, -a command, which will show you that the same thing like which operating system you are using, like Ubuntu, right? All this information we can see from here. Okay. Yeah. And we created a file here, and even if you want to delete that file, you can say rm command and say the file name. And even if you want to delete another one, rm space and the file one. If I say ls, you can see that those two files got deleted, right? And even if I want to delete that directory, rm space and the test directory, but it says that it is just it's a directory, you cannot remove that. Still, the directory you can see there. Why? Because just rm will not delete that directory. We should use an option called -r option. It's called an option -r. So we can delete that directory. Suppose you are not aware of some of the commands and you want to get a help of the command, right? So we can use man command, man space and rm. So you get that particular command details like a help, right? So we can see the name of the command and there is a small description and what the synopsis, right? How do we use that command? So rm option and the file name. So the -r option we used here, right? And there is a description about that command. And when you go down, you can see the options here, right? So options are start with hyphen. There are many options available. See, we can see here each options actually used for a different functionality. RM has many options like -r. There are many options. So each command has multiple options. So when you use that, the behavior will be totally changed. Okay. Yeah, Abhijit, Google. I hope you understand whatever I discussed, right? Any questions?
No, sir.
Yeah, right? Hello? Google?
Yeah, yes, sir. I have been understanding.
Okay. So that's all about the demo. So I just give a quick demo in the sense, meanwhile, we had some power cut issues and all that. So when the class started, then the real class when we started, then in that I'll be explaining each command, everything like, what is the fundamentals, then the middle knowledge, and we'll be going to the advanced level. Okay. So that is the way we'll be teaching this Linux. Any questions from your end? If we both are good, then we can wind up and you can update to the team. Okay.
Yeah, okay, sir.
Okay. Very well.
Yeah, okay, thank you.